Garlic has been used for thousands of years across various ancient cultures, often cited in historical texts for its role in supporting physical endurance and vitality. While these traditional uses were based entirely on observation, modern research is beginning to isolate the specific molecular pathways responsible for these effects. A study published this month in the journal Cell Metabolism highlights one such pathway. The research focuses on how a specific compound derived from garlic interacts with a molecule central to the aging process, NAD+. As we discuss frequently on this channel, NAD+ is a critical coenzyme required for cellular energy production and metabolic health. Over time, systemic NAD levels naturally decline with age, and this depletion is closely linked to age-related muscle weakness and frailty. Although it is worth noting that a recent paper entitled "Human Whole Blood NAD Levels Do Not Vary with Age or Lifestyle Interventions" has raised questions regarding how we measure these changes, though it does not necessarily negate the localized tissue declines observed. While much of the current landscape focuses on direct NAD+ precursors like NR or NMN, this new paper looks at a different mechanism altogether. The researchers investigated a compound found in aged garlic extract called S1-PC, or S1-propanol-L-cysteine. What they uncovered is a distinct communication axis between body fat, the brain, and skeletal muscle. When S1-PC is introduced, it acts on adipose tissue, your body fat, prompting it to release an enzyme called eNAMPT into the bloodstream. While intracellular NAMPT works strictly inside the cells to recycle NAD+ through the salvage pathway, eNAMPT is the extracellular form that is secreted into the bloodstream to act as a systemic signaling molecule between different tissues. This enzyme is carried inside extracellular vesicles directly to the hypothalamus, which is the metabolic control center of the brain. Once there, it stimulates a signaling cascade that ultimately tells the sympathetic nervous system to support muscle function. Because of the inherent limitation in investigating internal tissue-to-tissue signaling in living humans, the researchers first used animal models to map the exact biological mechanism. Though they did follow this up with a human trial to confirm at least part of the process was the same. We will cover this later in the video. The researchers ran two studies: a one-time administration of S1-PC to see how it was metabolized, and a chronic administration for several months to evaluate the functional impact. S1-PC doesn't act on the brain or muscles directly. Instead, the study found that S1-PC activates a protein called LKB1 specifically within the adipose tissue, that is, body fat. This activation triggers the fat cells to release eNAMPT into the bloodstream, wrapped inside an extracellular vesicle. This enzyme then travels to the hypothalamus in the brain. The exact mechanism is not clear, but it causes increased NAD in the hypothalamus. Although one possibility is creating NMN outside the cell, which is then absorbed by a transporter. This in turn signals the muscles via the sympathetic nervous system to improve energy efficiency. This increase in NAD acts as a master switch, sending a signal through the nervous system directly to the muscles. This signal activates a protein called PGC1 alpha, which optimizes the mitochondria. Essentially, S1-PC doesn't just build more muscle, it makes the muscle you already have significantly more efficient and powerful. Interestingly, the researchers also tested what happened when they combined S1-PC with NMN. They found that while NMN on its own had a modest effect in this specific model, combining it with S1-PC led to a synergistic increase in muscle force. This suggests that while S1-PC optimizes the signal from the brain to the muscle, providing the raw NAD+ precursors like NMN may provide the necessary fuel to maximize that response. Because this entire process begins in the fat, the researchers found that the presence and health of adipose tissue was a non-negotiable requirement for the systemic benefits to occur. To evaluate the functional impact of this pathway, the researchers administered S1-PC to aged mice over a period of 8 months, from when they were 15 months to 23 months old. equivalent to approximately 45 to 65-year-old humans. During this time, they tracked several key biomarkers of aging. First, they measured the animal's frailty index, which compiles various physiological indicators to assess the biological age. The mice treated with S1PC showed a statistically significant decrease in their frailty scores, indicating an improvement in overall biological resilience. Second, the researchers monitored core body temperature. In aging mammals, a decline in baseline body temperature is often observed alongside metabolic slowing. The data showed that S1PC administration helped restore the core body temperature of the aged mice closer to youthful baselines. Perhaps the most relevant outcome from physical Healthspan was the change in muscle performance. The S1PC treated mice demonstrated a significant increase in both skeletal muscle force and grip strength compared to the untreated aged controls. Moving to the human data, the researchers conducted a randomized clinical study involving 44 healthy adults. After a single oral dose of S1PC, participants aged 40 and older showed a significant increase in circulating eNAMPT levels within 120 minutes. However, the researchers noticed a clear divergence in the data based on body composition. They categorized participants into two groups, those with a BMI above 18.5 and those below. Those above 18.5 show a significant increase in eNAMPT, while those below showed no significant change in eNAMPT levels. This suggests a threshold effect. If an individual has very low body fat or a BMI below 18.5, they may not have enough responsive adipose tissue to secrete the enzyme in meaningful amounts. In the context of longevity, where many people strive for lean body mass, this study highlights that some fat is biologically necessary to act as a signaling organ for the brain and muscles. One final technical point. The researchers monitored whether this stimulation caused any unwanted lipolysis or the breakdown of fats into the blood. They found that S1PC did not trigger lipolysis, meaning it appears to be a very specific signal for eNAMPT secretion rather than a general metabolic stimulant. In summary, this research identifies a communication bridge where your fat tissue talks to your brain to maintain muscle strength. As we mentioned in the mouse data, there appears to be a synergy between S1PC and NMN. While NMN provides the building blocks for NAD+, S1PC seems to optimize the systemic signaling that tells the body how to use that energy. Combining these could potentially offer a more comprehensive approach to maintaining vitality. A quick note on availability. S1PC is not present in raw garlic. It is formed over time from a precursor and is present in aged garlic. While the concentration is higher in the aged garlic, it is still very difficult to reach the dose tested in the trial, which was 25 milligrams. A typical dose of 600 milligrams of aged garlic would probably contain 0.2 milligrams or less of S1PC. Thinking about this, it raises questions as to whether this actually is the mechanism for the health effects of garlic in traditional medicine, since their levels of S1PC would be extremely low. Though it is possible that long-term use of low doses of S1PC have a beneficial effect. It's important to note the study's disclosure. The lead researcher, Dr. Shin Ichiro Imai, holds several positions with longevity-focused organization and has filed a provisional patent for the use of S1PC based on these results. While this represents a clear commercial interest, it's also a practical indication that the work is already underway to develop this compound into a standardized, accessible form. Whether as a high-potency supplement or as a therapeutic, this study raises an interesting question about body composition. Specifically, the idea that a certain amount of fat mass is necessary for these longevity pathways to function. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on that threshold effect in the comments. Do you think we're focused too much on being lean at the expense of these signaling pathways? Thank you for your attention, and I wish you all well.